See Surma people where women put wide plates in their lips for beautification around the world. May 21, 2020. Read original. Surma is a collective term for three ethnic groups, Chai, Timaga, and SURMAPEOPLE, living in southwestern Ethiopia. Suri is composed of three subgroups, Chai, Timaga and Bale groups, self-names, politically and territorially different, but all speaking Southeast Surmic languages within the Surmic language family, which includes Mercy, Mahjong, and Mean languages. The Suri groups share a similar culture, and show social and historical kinship with the Mercy and Mean groups. Within Ethiopia, their homeland is relatively remote, located in semi-arid plains, valleys and foothills. There are traditional rivalries with neighboring groups such as the Nyangatom and the South Sudanese Tapasa, constantly raiding into Ethiopian territory. In recent decades, these conflicts have become quite bloody, with multiple use of automatic firearms, now present in significant numbers, no available overarching structures of mediation, and lack of effective government action. Major sources of the weapons have been the parties in the Sudanese civil war. At times, the local police only allows foreigners to travel there with a hired armed guard. Local Suri authorities have also been imposing hefty tourist travel sums on foreign tourists visiting the area. The Suri are a self-conscious and culturally proud people, with, among others, a liking for stick fighting called sajan. This is more properly called ceremonial dueling, and serves as a rite of passage for male youngsters and brings great prestige to men. It is especially important when seeking a bride, and they are very competitive, at the risk of serious injury and occasional death. At a young age, to beautify themselves for marriage, most women have their bottom teeth removed and their bottom lips pierced, then stretched, so as to allow insertion of a clay lip plate. This has become the hallmark of the Suri, as for the Mercy, and the main reason they have been sought out by tourists interested in the exotic. Some women have stretched their lips so as to allow plates up to 16 inches in diameter. Increasing with exposure to other cultures, however, a growing number of girls now refrain from this practice. Their children are sometimes painted with protective, white clay paint, which may be dotted on the face or body. Suri villages normally range in size from 40 to 1,000 people, but a few may reach 2,500 people. Suri life is egalitarian. The Suri chiefs, called Gamoru, have a ritual function and are merely the most respected elders and have no executive powers. They are elected from within certain clan lineages. Few Surma are familiar with Amharic, the official language of Ethiopia, and their literacy level is relatively low. In recent decades, however, schools have been built and the number of literate Suri is growing, with several now working in the local administration's district capital, and others studying in various towns. According to Suri oral tradition, they came to their present territory about 200 years ago from the West Sudan-Ethiopia borderlands. First they came to the Akobo, eastwards from the Nile, then they moved in two directions, to the lower part of Kidoabo and the upper part from Kidoabo to Mount Shalagoi. These migrants also absorbed local groups. Since the late 1890s, the Suri were constantly harassed by the Ethiopian imperial troops and northern settlers. As a result of this, politico-economically driven harassment, numerous Suri went to the Boma Plateau in Sudan, especially after 1925. The Suri are obviously not the only ethnic group in the south of Ethiopia. There are around 12 more, and with some of them tensions exist. The Suri have one primary enemy, the Nyangatom, a people south of them and member of the large Ateker population cluster. On a regular basis the Nyangatom and another enemy of the Suri, the Tapasa, also of the Ateker group, team up to raid the Suri's cattle. The Second Sudanese Civil War has taken additional toll on the Suri. These conflicts have pushed neighboring groups into the Suri territory and there are constant competition to defend what they have in terms of land, water sources and pasture. Clashes are most common during the dry season. Around this time the Surrey moved their cattle down south to find new grazing land. State authorities have been attempting to create awareness about conflict resolution and have occasionally called a peace conference, as in 2008. But they also have been the main source of conflict and antagonism themselves, for example, by confiscation of huge tracts of land for commercial agrarian projects on local groups' land and inefficient or absent mediation in cases of dispute. In recent decades Surrey have received a raw deal indeed from the Ethiopian government. The growing autonomy of the southern Ethiopian regional state after Ethiopia's internal troubles in the past years has not increased but deeply aggravated their predicament, cp. Wagstaff 2015, due to fierce ethnic competition and rivalry on the local level. The Surrey have a sky god named Tumu. The Surrey also believe in spirits and take recourse to female diviners as well. Another belief of the Surrey is in rainmaking. This skill is passed down through heredity and is only given to one male in specific clans. When his services are needed, the men collect chips from a specific tree. These chips are then masticated and the remaining juice is then mixed with clay. This combination is poured and smeared over the man's body. After this process, rain is expected to fall. The Surrey have a sky god named Tumu. The Surrey also believe in spirits and take recourse to female diviners as well. Another belief of the Surrey is in rainmaking. This skill is passed down through heredity and is only given to one male in specific clans. When his services are needed, the men collect chips from a specific tree. These chips are then masticated and the remaining juice is then mixed with clay. This combination is poured and smeared over the man's body. After this process, rain is expected to fall. Piercing lips and lobes and inserting lip plates are a strong part of the Surrey culture. At puberty most young women have their lower teeth removed in order to get their lower lip pierced. Once the lip is pierced, it is then stretched and lip plates of increasing size are then placed in the hole of the piercing. Having a lip plate is a sign of female beauty and appropriateness. A common thought is that the bigger the plate, the more cattle the woman is worth for her bride price, though this is denied by some. The Surrey pride themselves on their scars and how many they carry. Women perform decorative scarification by slicing their skin with a razor blade after lifting it with a thorn. After the skin is sliced, the piece of skin left over is left to eventually scar. On the other hand, the men traditionally scarred their bodies after they killed someone from an enemy group. These rituals, which are extremely painful, are said by some observers to be a way of getting the younger Surrey used to seeing blood and feeling pain. A sport and ritual the Surrey take very seriously is ceremonial dueling with sticks. In most cases, this is engaged in by young men to get respect from their families and community. The fights usually take place between two villages during harvest time, draw large audiences, and start with 20 to 30 representatives of each side, all of whom get a chance to duel against someone from the other side. During these fights there are referees present to make sure the rules are being followed. It is not uncommon for stick fights to end within the first couple of hits, but at the same time deaths are not unheard of, especially from hits to the stomach. Shooting incidents have occasionally erupted between men who have other disputes in real life. Each household in the Surrey village is managed by a married woman. The women prepare the food, take care of the children, and cultivate their own fields and gardens, and are allowed to use their profits however they wish. There are also age grades. Young men, tgay, are the warrior grade, not yet fully responsible adults. They are mainly responsible for herding and defending the cattle. Junior elders, rora, are the dominant decision-making age grade, and entrance is gained in an initiation ritual that is held every 20 to 30 years. During this initiation the young men to be promoted are tried and tested by elders, and are sometimes whipped until they bleed. Decisions in the Surrey community are made by men in an assembly. Women are not allowed to voice their opinions during these debates but are allowed to do so before or after the debates take place. These debates are closed and summed up by the community's ritual chief, the